Oh, yeah,
this
that'd
meeting?
be great. Sure.
Okay, all right. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then when it's over, I'll convert it, and then I can email it to you so that anybody else that might want to see it
Yeah,
can do so.
fantastic. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to spend the next 10 seconds just rehashing what I just said because I just started the recording.
Right.
Essentially, the software has all of the things that you would expect for your standard salon or spa management tool. For instance, appointment book, point of sale, inventory control, client database, marketing, commissions, reporting, payroll, etc. It also has some items that make it fairly unique. One of those items being the Darcy marketing system. So I'm going to click on this button here, and that brings up my Setup Darcy window. When going through the process of setting up Darcy, and we refer to her sort of like a person. She's essentially like an assistant manager. You set it up, you put in some basic information here. You also copy and paste your links for your social networking sites like Google+, Yelp, City Search, Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, and Instagram, and you upload your own logo. You can even do texting through her as well. Once this is set up, then Darcy is able to do 5 main jobs. Now, she's got other jobs as well, but she's got 5 main jobs. One of those jobs is reminding and confirmation for appointments. And they can use what are called variables so that every one of the clients receives their own unique message. So for instance, I'll click on this little information eye here. These are the variables that are available to be stuck into the message. And the message is entirely up to whatever the salon or spa wants to write. So this might say something like reminder for Ken. Hi, Ken, remember that you have an appointment for a European facial with Sally on October 5th at 11 a.m. Please arrive 15 minutes early to unwind. So that's the message. It also has the logo on the email as well as the social networking icons so that they could click on one of those and be instantly taken to that client's website or their Yelp page or their whatever it may be. Now, after they receive this, not only does it have the logo and the social networking sites, it also has a big blue button that says click here to confirm your appointment. So it's more than just a reminder. If the customer clicks on that button, it will mark the appointment reminded directly on the appointment book. So there's nothing that needs to be done. There's no email that gets sent to the salon or spa and now they've got to, okay, this person confirmed, now let me go into the appointment book and mark it confirmed. Absolutely not. It takes care of it for you and it date and time stamps it as well. You can also choose to send 1, 2, 3, or 4 messages. In this case, I said send 2, and I want the first one to go out 2 days in advance and the second one to go out 1 day in advance. So this message will go out, and if the customer, for whatever reason, does not confirm their appointment, then the next one will go out as well the following day because that's the way I've set it up. She will also do the same thing via text. So the customer can receive a reminder for Ken. Ken, your appointment with Sally is on October 5th at 11 a.m. Reply Y to confirm. Now, this is a little different, no artwork, and it says reply Y to confirm. There's no big blue button that says click here to confirm your appointment, but it works the same way. If the customer hits reply Y to confirm, the appointment is automatically confirmed on the appointment book. So that's job 1 of Darcy. Another job that Darcy has are the automated marketing campaigns. There are over 20 of them already built for you into the system. However, you can create your own, and each one of these, of course, is going to be unique to you. So for instance, let's say that I wanted to do a birthday campaign. So I select birthday. Then again, I can choose 1, 2, 3, or 4 campaigns to run for the birthday campaign. So this time I selected 4. After I've selected how many campaigns are going to go out, then I get to choose when they go out from 0 to 30 days prior to your customer's birthday. And your customer's birthday, of course, is going to be found in their client file. So for instance, if I'm looking at Michelle Babcock here, I've got her birthday and her anniversary. And by the way, the years do not matter. Darcy doesn't care about the years. She's looking at this and she says November 1st is Michelle's birthday. April 12th is her anniversary. She doesn't care what the years are. So going back to Darcy here, and we've selected our birthday campaign. Go ahead and select birthday here. Okay, so I said I want my first message to go out 30 days before my client's date of birth. And my second message to go out 14 days before, my third message 7 days before, and my fourth message on the day of. Then, after I've selected when they're going to go out, I get to say what goes out. First message, write my subject for my email. I can choose my font size, and while I am typing up the email, I can once again use variables. So happy birthday, Ken. Happy birthday, Ken. It looks like you'll be celebrating your special day in about a month. I wrote that because I know this one's going out 30 days before. Also, while I'm writing this, I can bold words, underline words, italicize words, change the colors of the words, and even insert hyperlinks. So I could have something like click here to book your appointment online or something like that. So I can insert hyperlinks right into it. Once I've written my message, my subject and my body, then I get to choose artwork. I have 8 different pieces of artwork to choose from. For every campaign, there are already 8 different pieces of artwork to choose from. However, at any time, the customer might say, you know what, I don't like the artwork that has been provided, so I'm going to upload my own custom artwork. And so they can browse anywhere on their computer and upload their artwork. And if they'd like, we can provide them, or of course you, with the specs so that they format properly. But yes, they can have their their own artwork, as well as their logo will be on that email as well. So it's a really good looking email that goes out to the customer. And then again, you do the very same thing for the second message, but this one's going out, in this case, I said 14 days before. So it's the same process. Once you have put in the information you want, you simply save your template and exit, make sure that everything is active and saved. By the way, we train everybody. So you get, not only do we have training videos on our website that cover most of the aspects of the software, but training during regular business hours is always free of charge. Okay, and so of course is technical support. Now that's just the birthday template I showed you. There's all sorts of them, things like Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, school's out, summer. But there's also promotional, which you create your own date. So you put in a date that's important to you, again, go through the very same process. Now, there's 3 that are a little bit different than all the others. Oh, and by the way, Ken, as you can tell, I speak very rapidly, and I'm trying to get a lot of information out in a short period of time. So please feel free to interrupt me with any questions you have. Okay?
You're doing good. Thanks.
All right. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to say follow-up. Now, this one's different. This one does not go out before the date. So if I chose Valentine's Day, then it would be going out before Valentine's Day. If I said Mother's Day, it would be going out before Mother's Day. And yes, the software knows what date Mother's Day is because there's an algorithm built in. Depending on what year you're in, it knows what day Mother's Day is. Same thing with Father's Day, etc. But with follow-up, it goes after the date. So what is the date then? The date is the date of your customer's last transaction. So if I said I just want to run campaign, and I want it to go out 1 day after their last transaction, what that really means is that my customer is going to get a message. Every customer will get a message the day after they visited me. So it might say something like, thank you, Ken. Ken, thank you so much for visiting us yesterday. We hope everything went great for you, and blah, 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 blah. You write whatever you want and make it look the way you want. It's got your logo. It's got the artwork that you chose, or you can upload your own custom artwork, etc. So that's a follow-up, and that's a little bit different than the other ones. We also have a lost client. So this one is not from 0 to 30 days. This one's from 30 to 360 days and going in 30-day increments. So in this case, I said I want to send out 4 messages, 90 days from the date of my customer's last transaction. So in other words, this first message will go out to anybody who has not been in to see me in 3 months. And it might say something like, we miss you, Ken. Ken, it's been a long time since we've seen you. Now, the Darcy system's very bright. If they have a future appointment with you, she won't send out the message, even if they haven't been in to see you in 3 months or 4 months or 5 months or 8 months like I've selected here. So again, a powerful tool there. These are the campaigns, and there's a lot more. Then there's the notifications. Notifications is mostly suspicious activities, not completely, but mostly suspicious activities. So for instance, everything that I check, Darcy's going to handle for me. When a cash payment is voided, if one of my employees voids a cash payment, I get an instant email that says, hey boss, a cash payment was just voided at 1:13 p.m. on October 3rd, 2017 by Sally on transaction number 12345. So you get that information. When a price is modified at the point of sale, when rewards points are adjusted, or when a transaction is modified, or when a client file is printed out. That one, by the way, has caught thieves before in the past. We've had some of our customers tell us that 2 o'clock in the morning, they get an email from Darcy that says, hey, a list of all of your customers was just printed out. So most of these, as I said, are suspicious activities, but not all. Like this one here, email tomorrow's schedule to operator. Every night, Darcy will email your staff their schedule for the following day. Email closing report to the boss. The boss doesn't close, she leaves. The employee closes the drawer, turns out the lights and leaves. maybe at 8:30 that night, maybe at 7, depending on what time you set it up for, the boss gets an email that says, hey boss, it's Darcy, here are tonight's closing numbers. So she does things like that as well. She can even contact your customer when the appointment has been booked, unbooked, or rescheduled. So that's not the same as an appointment reminder or confirmation. This one basically says, hey, I'd like to book an appointment with Sally next Tuesday. And then I get an instant email that says your appointment with Sally for this service on this day at this time has been successfully booked. And then if at the salon or spa it was unbooked or rescheduled, the customer would get an instant email letting them know that their appointment has been rescheduled for this time. Hopefully they called to request that and they see that you're on the ball. Or maybe they didn't call to request anything and they see that there's been an unbooking. That might generate a telephone call to say, why did you unbook me? Oh my goodness, I meant to unbook Sally Smith and I unbooked Sally Smythe. I'm so sorry. You know, whatever it may be. But the customer can be notified if that's what you want Darcy to do. So those are some of the notification features that Darcy does. So that's job 3. Darcy also has what's called the come again and the buy again. The come again works with services, and essentially, very briefly, if you come in and get a service that should be repeated, let's say you get a haircut and it's a haircut that should be done every 4 weeks or every 6 weeks, whatever it may be, then the software can say, hey, this customer came in for a haircut 6 weeks ago, has not yet returned, and does not have a future appointment. Therefore, I'm going to send out this email that may say something like, hey, blah, 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 you know, hey, come on back in. It's been 6 weeks since your last appointment. If they have a future appointment, she won't send the message out, which is really good because that way, maybe it is 6 weeks. But if you set it for 4 weeks, then what could happen is Darcy could reach out to them with a message that might say something like, hey, you know, in 2 weeks, you should be scheduled for your next appointment, and we see that you don't have a future appointment booked. Call us today to schedule that so that your hair doesn't get a little wild, or whatever the service may be. Think of that in a spa environment, you know, if they're doing something like therapeutic massage and it should be repeated weekly. So then you can not only keep track of people who have missed their cycles, but you can also remind people, if they don't have a future appointment booked, that their cycle should be coming up, and perhaps they should take that opportunity to book, whether it's booking online, booking through the app, or giving you a phone call. Same thing works with buy again, except with buy again, it works with inventory. So you can put essentially kind of like a death date on your product. So you've got a shampoo, it's 20 ounces. You tell your customers that that they should use 2 ounces of it every other day. Well, that means in about 3 weeks, it should be empty. So maybe I say 4 weeks or 5 weeks to give them an opportunity to come in to buy it once it empties. If they bought that product and let's say 5 weeks have gone by and they have not returned to buy that product, Darcy can reach out to them and say, hey, your blah, blah, blah shampoo is probably empty or running low. You may want to come into, and that can not only increase retail sales, but also oftentimes it increases service sales as well, client retention, because oftentimes when a customer is going to come in to get that product, they'll book themselves another appointment as well for a service. So those are just 5 of the jobs that Darcy does. And that's one of the things, like I said, that makes Darcy unique. Another thing that the Transcend software is unique. Darcy makes it unique. Another is the online store. The online store allows you to create your own web page that you can then link to your website, your company's website. And it can be a link just to appointments online, or a link just to gift certificate or gift card sales online, or a link to retail sales online. And so when your customer actually goes to your page, they could click on a button that might say something like, click here to book appointments online, and they can create themselves an account and assign themselves a username and password, and then go through the process of actually booking an appointment. And it will book the appointment online, and that appointment appears right on the appointment book. So it's not like something that has to be, okay, this person just booked an appointment online, so it sends you an email. Now I need to go into the appointment book and book it. Not at all. It books it for you. And the nice thing is that if the time's not available, it won't give that time as an option. Okay? As well as that, you also have the ability to sell gift certificates online. And a really nice feature about this is that this gift certificate can be a gift card. Obviously, they can't print a gift card out from home. But if it's a gift card, there will be an alert that pops up in your point of sale. So there at the business, in the point of sale, an alert pops up that lets them know that a purchase of a gift card has just been made. So they can then attach the information that the person filled in online, and they already paid for it online with their credit card, and you can now ship a card directly out to them. It'll even print out a mailing label for you. If, however, it was a gift certificate, then they receive an email, and they can print that email, that gift certificate, right out from home, and they can walk right into your shop and use it. There's nothing you need to do on your end to make that gift certificate work because your software is already aware of it. It's a direct interface with your software's data.
Wow.
Now, as well as being able to do those things, and selling product as well, but as well as being able to do those things through the website, you can also do them through the app. So for instance, if a customer wanted to book an appointment online, then they would go to the customer's app, the salon or spa's app. They would choose their group. These are the groups of services that spa offers. Once they've chosen a group, they get to choose individual services, choose an individual employee, choose the date that they're interested in, the time that they would like to come in, and then they can book the appointment, add another service, or start over. And if they choose to book the appointment, they get this information on their smartphone, and they receive an email with all of that information as well, along with the business's banner would be across the top as well. So it's a really good-looking system. You can also do the same thing with, say, the purchase of a gift certificate. And now this is really nice because it can turn your smartphone into your certificate or gift card. So, for instance, they click on gift cards. They put in the recipient's first and last name, the dollar amount, or they can select a gift package if you've created them, even put in a personal message. So it might look something like this. Then when they continue, they can add another certificate, or they can just continue on so that they can pay for it, put in their credit card information, which now may look something like this on their smartphone, and then process. If their card goes through successfully, if not, by the way, they'll be told that there was a problem, their card was declined. But if their card goes through successfully, then they receive something like this, and their phone can actually be scanned using a barcode scanner at the shop. Of course, if they don't have a barcode scanner, they can just type in the number at the shop, and it will work the same way. They will also, however, receive an email, so they could forward this to their friend, their wife, their husband, whatever, or they can use it right off of their smartphone. So again, you don't have to do it through the website. It can, in fact, be done directly through the app. One more thing I want to tell you about the app, and there's a lot more to the app, by the way. I'm just showing you a few of the highlights. But one of them is the profile. This allows the spa's customers to update their information right in your Transcend software, right through their smartphone. So they can fill in additional information if their last name changes because they got married, or perhaps they want to put in their birthday or anniversary to get the specials that you offer on your website, whatever. Their service history, they're able to see all of the services and the dates and who they saw to get those services. And by the way, that goes retroactive. So for instance, if you were using the software for a year and then started using the app will go back and get all of that data. Retail history will show them every product they've ever purchased from you. Membership status. If you're running the membership program, which is part of the software, they'll see how many points they've earned, how many points they have remaining, if there's an expiration date, when is that expiration, etc. Gift card status, if they own any gift certificates or gift cards, it will show them what they own and what the current balance is of those. And if they have a series, maybe they bought 5 Swedish massages at one time to get a discount, that's a series. And maybe they have 4 or 5 remaining, or 3 or 5 remaining, etc. So this is all something that the app handles. It's a very, very powerful app. The app even allows you to have direct communication with the customer, so that the spa and the customer can basically live chat with each other back and forth if they choose to. It's also a great way, for instance, if a customer says, hey, do you have any openings on Saturday? And they're not going through the appointments online. Somebody could say, yeah, you know what, we've got an opening at this time, would you be interested? Would you like me to book it for you? If they're not going to go through the process of appointments online. Just one example of how it's used. All right. So that's the online store and, of course, the app. Now, the app also works with your employees, not just the clients. I was showing you the clients. It also does the employees as well. So an employee might, for instance, choose something like the daily rundown. And again, there's a lot of features that the employee can use. But if they choose daily rundown, it will show them everything that they're doing that day. Good afternoon, Amy. Your next appointment is for an eyelash tint scheduled at total services scheduled for this day, total expected revenue, total services completed, total service revenue of what's been completed, how many retail units you've sold, your total gratuities, any discounts that were applied, total revenue, to that time, so they could check this as often as they want during the day to see how they're doing. They could just do it once at the end of the day to see how their day looked. And of course, a list of the remaining schedule that they have that day will be there for them to scroll through as well. So again, really neat features for the staff as well, not just for the clients. And yes, your staff can book appointments right through the app as well, check their next appointments, and also have direct communication with the spa, etc. So things like that are available to you. Now, of course, the software has the basics, as I said. It has your appointment book. But the really neat thing here is that unlike a lot of the competitors out there, this has 3 different types of bookings. So for instance, I've got what's called the day view screen, which allows me to see my staff that's working today. Then we also have what's called the week view screen, which allows you to choose a specific person, and it will show you their schedule for today plus 2 weeks. And with the little plus sign here, I can add days so that I can see up to 31 total days on a single screen. And then we also have what's called the month view screen, which allows you to very simply say, okay, these are the days of the month that in my spa I'm able to book an appointment. And when I choose a specific person, let's say like Ashley, she doesn't work Wednesdays or Thursdays, so now those days no longer exist. So now I'm left with just what could be booked. Then when I choose a service, other days may be blacked out as well. Let's go with Christian here, and let's say, okay, I want to book today. So I'm going to choose a service like an anti-curl with blow dry. And then I can choose the day, and it will show me the available times on that particular day that I've selected. And so there may be a lot, like for instance, let's go on the 19th here. There's an awful lot of openings, but on the 3rd, not so many. And if I decided to do one, I just simply click the time, and now I can choose my customer, their client type, and book it. And it will, let's do it. What the heck? Let's go with Martha Kane here. And we'll say that she did ask for Christian, so it's a request. And I'm going to go ahead and book that anti-curl with blow dry on October 3rd at 1:30 p.m. Excuse me, 12:30 p.m. So book it. The appointment has been booked. Well, let's find out if it has. Let's go in here. Let's go to Christian, and we should see Martha Kane for an anti-curl with blow dry. There she is. She's booked and at 12:30. Worked out beautifully, just like I wanted it to. So that's the appointment book, and you can reschedule appointments. You can unbook appointments. You can place people on a waiting list so that it will automatically pop up if somebody was waiting and you rescheduled or unbooked somebody. You can put things in seniority order so that when somebody says, I don't care who I see, that would be their first choice on the app or on the online store. So lots of different features like that. The client features are significant. For instance, Miss Babcock here. Yes, I've got my first and last name, address, city, state, who she prefers to see, what her occupation is, her birthday, anniversary, lots of different things. Also her history, every service she's ever gotten from me, every product she's ever gotten, if she owns any gift certificates, if she has any points. Also, I can set up pop-up notes. So if she's allergic to glycerin, that might be something that I might want them to see. Anytime they pull Miss Babcock up, it'll be a pop-up note is the very first thing they see. If you're a salon, you may have formulas for her so that you can track what you're using in-house. And also, basically like a salon, you get your hair colored, and so they say we're going to use 1 ounce of this and half an ounce of this and a tube of that or whatever it may be, and that formula is there so that they're not looking through 3x5 cards. We also have what's called tracking. Tracking allows you to create your own unique tracking items. They're completely created by the business. So these are the ones I created. You have 10 different ones, and each one of them can have an unlimited number of items within it. So for instance, my color here, this is the color of her hair. I can go with red, brown, blonde, black, highlight, bleach, and I could just keep adding to it if I wanted. But in this case, I'm saying she's got black hair. Hair length, short, medium, long, I'm going to go with long. But again, anything you want. I really could say, does this customer ride motorcycles? Does this customer surf? It doesn't matter. And I could create those, and they're really simple. Setup, configuration, tracking, and of course, all of this is trained. Add tracking. So I might do something like this. Surf. And I'm just going to put in a yes, whoops, and a no. Now you might say, why do I even bother with a no? Really? Because, if I say yes, great, but others I wouldn't even choose. Well, if you have a yes in there for somebody and you haven't Let's go back to Ms. Babcock here. We'll go to tracking. Okay, so surf, and I'm going to say yes and accept. Great. So now when I run a list of all of my women who surf, she's going to come up along with everybody else that I may have put that on, so that I can send them a unique email directly to them. But then maybe she hurts herself. Maybe she's gotten to that age where she just doesn't surf anymore. So she's not going to be part of that group anymore. Well, just blanking it out is not going to do the trick. So in this case now, I'm going to say, you know what? No. That way, when I'm creating my list, I get to say, I want a list of all of my women with black hair, with oily skin, who like to surf. And then I can create a very targeted list so that I can send out a message just to those people, that unique targeted list, because as I'm sure you know, target marketing is significantly more effective than blast marketing. So if I were to send out a list like, let's go back into Darcy here and create a list. If I were to say, I want a list of all of my males and females and give it a name like all clients and create my list. Well, let's do it. I'll just call it list file instead of giving it a name like that. It's going to go through 22,000 different customers that I've got here. It'll take about 20 seconds to go through all 22,000, and it'll pull them up. Once that list is created, I could blast out something like, hey, these are our summer specials. Well, that's almost like spam. But if I were instead, by the way, see, I can go to blast, and I can choose the client file that I created. I've created a whole lot of them. But let's go to our list file that we just created. And I can blast a list. I can send them out an email that I can create, or a text message that I can create. And I can send out the text or the email, etc. But I might say, no, 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 no. I don't want to do that. I want to send it out just to my women who like to see Ashley, who have black hair and surf and ride motorcycles. Again, because you create them, you can be as unique as you want with your marketing. You can do things like, I want everybody who's got a birthday or an anniversary in this month or in this time frame, or everybody who hasn't been in to see me in this amount of time, or everybody who has seen me this many times within a particular date range, which, by the way, that particular example is very, very helpful for reviews. So you say something like, I'm going to say any visit from, let's say, October 1st of last year to October 1st of this year, so a full year. And then I say my number of visits from. Now, the visits from, meaning this is the minimum. So maybe I want everybody who's seen me 7 times or more within the last year. So even if they saw you 20 times, they'll be on the list. So then I can create that list and then send an email to them that might say something like, hey, would you mind clicking on any of the links below? Because remember, your Facebook link is there, your Yelp link is there, your Google Plus link is there, etc., to write a review about us. You know, you're a special customer to us, and you know, we'd love for you to write a review about us. So the chances that you're going to have somebody say something nice about you if they keep coming back to you is pretty high. Now, they may not actually write the review, but if they do, they're probably going to say something nice because they keep coming back. I don't want the guy who visited me one time 8 months ago and never returned. I don't want him writing a review about me. So this way, you know, without offering a positive good for a review, which you're not allowed to do on sites like Yelp, you can still get more positive reviews than negative simply by asking the people who regularly see you. So things like that are available to you as well. Another thing that I want to show you, I'm going to go to reports here, and I'm going to go to sales, service sales, and I'm going to go to my, let's say, for a selected employee. Now I can choose any individual employee I want from my list of employees, or I can go with everybody, which is what I'm going to do, and accept. And then I can put in an old date range here, or I can put in any date range I want for last week, for last year. This is 4 years ago. But the reason I'm choosing that date range is because I want to show you something here. Accept. Now, what I've got here is 843 total sales. And that's a total of $58,042 worth of sales in this case. This is a fairly decent sized location. Now, why is that important? Because this is all fake data anyway. Because I wanted you to see how fast that came up. It was almost instant. So you're not waiting through that crunch time of the software to pull it up. This is, after all, a SQL database. Now, within here, I've got all of these little tools. One of them, not a big deal, but it's nice. The zoom tool, so you don't have to print it out and read it with your reading glasses. You can just zoom in and out. But you also have this one, which is more important, email. Click, type in an email address and hit OK, and that report just got sent out to whomever I wanted to get it. My accounting department, myself at home, my partner, my manager, whatever, even the employee. Export to Excel, one click of a button, and this report becomes an Excel spreadsheet. So there's no exporting to a CSV file or a TXT file and then importing it in and setting your delimiters, none of that nonsense. One click of a button, every report in here is available to you. Of course you can print, but you can also make changes. So for instance, this is for everybody, for all registers for this period. And I say, okay, well that's great, but I just want to see it for Debbie and recalculate. So I didn't have to exit the report and rebuild the report under Debbie's name. I could just change it on the fly. Also, same thing goes with the date range. I could say I don't want it from September 1st to October 1st of 13. I want it from September 1st to September 7th of 13 and recalculate. And there it is for Debbie for September 1st to September 13th. So again, you can make these changes on the fly, and if you have multiple locations, you can even choose between your locations to look at those reports from one location. I want to see how location B did or location C did. I want to see how my Oahu office did. I want to see how my Honolulu office did, etc. You can do things like that as well right through the software. Now, there are over 300 different pre-made reports already built into the software. So chances are anything you're looking for is going to be there for you, waiting. But we also have something called a data miner, which really makes our software unique. Now, there's a lot of software out there using the SQL database, but how many software allows you to create your own custom reports to mine your SQL data? That's exactly what this does. Now, 99.9% of the locations out there do not have anybody well-versed enough in SQL to write a SQL statement. But if they do, like some of our resorts or hotels, if they've got an IT staff, they can just simply write a SQL statement and pull that information right out of the software. But if not, then they can go through a little bit of training, and with a little bit of training, they can actually generate their own SQL reports based on the information they want. Again, with a little bit of training, they're going to be able to do this. Now, I just grabbed anything, so this is probably garbage. But the point of the matter is it will actually create the SQL statement, and it will create the report. You can save this so that you have that report for you as now one of your reports in the future. So you don't have to recreate it each time you want it. So it's a really, really powerful tool. Now there's another one. You know what? Let's go back to reports here. This time I'm going to go to goals. And I can set up my goals for my staff, and I can view where they are based on those goals, or I can choose what's called the fortune teller. The fortune teller is really nice because what it allows you to do is see your trends. Your last 3 months worth of trends, for instance, for everybody. We'll go all operators. Now this is sample data, so the numbers are pretty low. But I've got my actual trends, and if this stays the same, then this is what my next year is going to look like. But then down here, in my what if scenario, I can change any of these numbers and see how that's going to impact my business. So if my consultant came in and said, hey, spend $1,500 and 20 hours and changing your policy to this, and if you do that, then this number should change to this, and this number should change to that, plug it in. See what the benefit is. In other words, the reason it's called the fortune teller is because it allows you to see the return on your investment of time, effort, or money before you do it, if you hit the numbers that you were hoping to hit when you plug them in. Okay? So again, there's so much to the software, and the really neat feature is that you don't have to use just about any of it. In other words, if you were one of those people that thought it was a glorified calculator and you just wanted to process sales through the point of sale and accept credit cards, sure. You want to book appointments, you want to do standing appointments, you want to do package bookings, you could do that too, or not. You could set up your commissions on sliding scales or standard percentages, or even on by dollar amount instead of percentages, or not. The point is that you don't have to use all of the software for the software to be effective for you. So a software like this that works great in a hotel or resort spa that's got, you know, dozens of employees and has got all sorts of different complicated ways of doing things can be used just as easily in a nail salon that's got 3 employees. that just want to keep track of what they're doing, what they're making, and they want the software to reach out to their customers to remind them about appointments and things like that.
Sure.
Now, I could spend 12 hours, in fact I have, because I do classes for customers here in Los Angeles, in Miami, in Orlando, et cetera, throughout, and they come, they sit with me, and they sit with me for 8 hours a day for 3 days. That's 24 hours worth of training. I can do that because every little piece of this, so we could go into all of the little nuances of it. We could go over every single report that the software offers and what it really means and things like that. So for lack of a elevator pitch, even though that's exactly what I gave you as long as, you know, this was a really, really tall building, do you have any questions for me? Was there something you say, you know what, in our environments, in the businesses, the local businesses that might put this to use, this is really important to them, so I need to make sure it can do this. Do you have anything like that? Any questions for me?
No, I mean, no. How do you, I see that you have payroll there. How do you do you have any kind of hooks for, let's say, they have an accounting system, you know, like something like, oh, I don't know, QuickBooks or FreshBooks or something like that. Do you have integration capabilities, or is this sort of standalone?
Okay, well, good news and bad. The installed version of our software has a direct interface with the QuickBooks Pro and QuickBooks Premier. QuickBooks does not permit third-party interface for their online or their basic versions or their quick-in versions. So there's no way around that. However, the cloud version of the software, which is really what I'm kind of stressing to you anyway, has not yet come out with the QuickBooks interface. We are developing that. It will be coming out, but it is not yet available, so I just want you to be fully aware of that. But remember I told you that every report in the system, doesn't matter what it is, I'll just grab anything here. Retail sales, do it by product sales by manufacturer for today's date. If I have anything, I don't think I do, but, and select an operator, we'll just say all operators. So I just grabbed anything here. Any report that you pull up, you can export directly to Excel. And QuickBooks does allow Excel uploads. So you can run reports on your transactions, on your sales, on your tax, etc., and they can be uploaded through Excel. So that's kind of a workaround in that respect. Does that make sense?
Yep, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
But we are coming out with our QuickBooks interface. Like I said, we already have it for the installed version, but for the cloud version, it's not currently available.
Wow. So do you have a big client base, or do you have a client base here in Hawaii already?
We do have a client base in Hawaii. I can tell you it's very small. I would venture to say that the number of salons and spas in Hawaii using our software is probably a dozen or fewer. We do have a representation in all 50 United States, Canada. We've got a handful in South America, a handful in Asia, and a handful in Europe. And when I say a handful, I mean a handful, like a half a dozen. But within the United States, no. For instance, in California alone, we have over 400 salons and spas using our software. But again, and we do have some major customers, like I think I mentioned earlier, like the couples resorts throughout Jamaica and the Caribbean. All of the resorts use our software. All of the couples resorts do. So we do have some feathers in our cap as far as that goes. In Hawaii, though, we have a very, very small footprint, and we're very much interested in making it a larger footprint.
So what does it look like from, let's say we are reselling your software? Is there a portal to sign folks up? How do we onboard people? What's from a partner standpoint, let's talk about that. I mean, I'm convinced, boy, this is a very complete package for those particular customer base. What's it like on the partner side?
Okay, well, that is something that we want to actually develop with you, but the way we see it right now and the way we have done it in the past on a very small scale with just a few distributors around the country, but essentially it's a website. You could go to a web page, enter some basic information, and that will create a login credential for however many computers the customer wants to be able to use the software from simultaneously. So for instance, if they're only going to use it on a single computer at one time, then they just get one login credential. If they have 8 computers that they're going to be using it on, 5 in the shop, 1 at the owner's home, and 2 somewhere else, it doesn't matter physically where they're located. What matters is the number that are going to be dialed in simultaneously. So again, you would fill in, the name and address and telephone number and contact, email, and then say for instance, they're going to be using it on 8 computers and they have this many staff members, that are going to need to be tracked in the system. So then we create a username and login credential for however many computers they're going to be using them for. Now, they can assign them to any computers they want, but those are created. Now, the next step, though, is the data entry. That's kind of the big deal. So if you're doing the selling, for instance, you could land the sale, type their information in, and then you get an email with their login credentials. Okay, and then you could assign that to them, or we could send it directly to the customer. It's entirely up to you. Then there's also the option of the data entry. Now, there's quite a bit of data entry going on here. You've got all of your groups and services and your prices and times. You've got all of your staff and their schedules, and you've got and who is assigned to what services, et cetera, what products then all of your inventory, your manufacturers, your vendors, your categories, all of what you sell them for, what you buy them for, all of that information. There's a lot of data that needs to go in for a working system. And so what we like to do, because we just think that it makes everybody's life so much easier, is we've got 3 different ways to handle that. One way is we do it for you. You give us the information. We've got people who are, they know exactly how to do it. They just get it in, and when you log into your software, your data's there waiting for you. That's one way. Another way is there are uploads. So we have formats. Say you've got an Excel spreadsheet with all of your customers, names, addresses, telephone numbers, et cetera. Put it in this format and upload it. And now it's in your software. Same thing goes with inventory. Same thing goes with your groups and services. So you can actually go through a wizard where you enter the information and it uploads into your software. So you could have us do it. You could do it through the wizard. And then finally, there is the training where even though your software is already set up and it's got all of your data in it already, we still teach you how to set up individual products, how to set up individual employees, how to set up, how to add clients to your system. The reason we do that is because, well, every single day you might have a brand new customer. So even though you've got all of your customers in there, if somebody walks through the door, you still want to get them in the system, so you need to know how to do that. Maybe you're selling a new product. You need to know how to get that product into your system. Maybe you hired a new employee. You need to be able to get them into their system, assign them their schedule, and assign them services, et cetera. So we still train you. You understand how to do it all, but from day one, you should be able to start doing business because we've gotten your data in there for you already. So there's different ways for you to get it to us. I mean, believe it or not, we've actually had people simply scan pages of paper that they had things written on by hand. They literally scanned them and emailed them to us.
So
I mean, you can do it any way you want.
Do you charge for that setup service like you just described?
There is a $99 upfront initial charge. So whether you are 300 employees or you were 3 employees, you're looking at $99. And hopefully you can upload that stuff. But if not, if you give it to us and we've got to spend the hours getting it in, we do that. That's all encompassed by the $99.
Got it. Okay.
Now, and by the way, that $99, that is, Ken, that's between us and Hawaiian Telecom right now. The truth of the matter is that if you guys said that's not a selling point for us, that's going to hurt us. We can work with you. Or if you said, you know what, for what you're doing, we could sell that for 3 times more. We can do that as well, because in the end,
Sure.
Yeah. And then of course there's the monthly subscription.
Yeah. So how much is that typically running right now?
Okay, typically, I'm going to give you our standard pricing, and once again, all of this is something that can be negotiated with HT so that we make sure that we are at price points that are going to allow you to effectively sell the software. So, but I'm just going to give you what our standard is. If you were a standalone salon or spa and you decided you wanted to call us and say, I want to buy your software, what are the prices? Then it's going to work like this. You can have up to 3 employees, that's the lowest version, and that's $69 a month. $99 up front, and then $69 a month. And you get everything I just showed you, by the way. We don't strip down the software. So you're using the Darcy system. You get the software. Then there is the next level is up to 7 employees. So you go from up to 3, then you go up to 7, and that's $99 a month. Then there's the up to 15 employees, and that is $149 a month, so it's $50 more. And then there is the unlimited employees, 16 or more, in other words, and that is $199 a month.
Oh, wow. Yeah. no, quite reasonable for what you're getting out of this. Man, it's very comprehensive.
Absolutely. Now, there is something I need to make you aware of. With a hotel or resort, it's a little bit different. Oftentimes, they're doing things 24/7, number one. Sometimes not. But more importantly, they need the software to interface with their property management system so that they can charge directly to a room.
Yeah.
And we do have that, but that changes our structure. First of all, it's automatically $199 a month. You're not going to get anything less than that. But there is a $3,500 fee for the hotel interface to interface with your property management.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, that's got to be done, or it's no value to them. So yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah, and then we also offer, now most people don't bother with it anymore because of the, now with the internet and webinars, people are doing things like you and I are doing. But we do offer, especially to our hotel and resorts, sometimes with the chain, they'll gather people together in one location, and they will actually fly someone like me out to them, and they will have me train their staff for 2-3 days. We offer that for the company that is hiring us to do that is going to be paying for our flight, our room and board, and $1,000 a day. So basically, it's $3,000 for 3 days plus room and board and flight.
Right. So the other training you're talking about is all online?
Everything's online, and it's always free during our regular business hours. Now, we offer 24/7 support. So if you needed to call us at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday, then we do have an on-call technician, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But during our regular business hours, it's always free. So for Hawaii, unfortunately, the time is a little bit wacky because it's Hawaii. But not saying there's anything wrong with that. But our hours normally, Pacific time, are 7 to 5 Pacific. So in Hawaii, that would be 4 a.m. is what time that would start. And then that would end at 2 p.m. So from 4 a.m. to 2 p.m. would be 3 hours Monday through Thursday. And then, unfortunately, on Fridays and Saturdays, 5 hours on Fridays and 4 hours on Saturdays. And those are the morning hours. So that would be from 7 to 12. 7 to 12 on Fridays. So for you guys, that would be from 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. Don't know how much that would help. And then on Saturdays from 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. Again, don't know how much that would help. But if we felt, if HT said, you know what, this is a product we can really sell, and what we need in order to do that is a more flexible technical support option, then that's perhaps something that we could discuss and work with. Because I am not going to say, because the hours are strange, that we're going to forego the state of Hawaii. That's silly, especially not with an opportunity like HT is offering.
Yeah, sure. Wow. I have never looked to see how many potential customers are in Hawaii. Have you guys done any kind of market study like that?
We've done a little bit, and I would say that it was very amateurish. Quite honestly, people like me and 2 others that were here, we went online, and it was after we had had some conversations with some of the other people there at HT that had told us, you know what, it's kind of a resort state, and you will find nail salons, hair salons, and day spas, and med spas and resort spas. They're on damn near every corner. And so the truth of the matter is that
a lot. There's got to be a lot, but I have no idea, because overall there's, I mean, that's something I would want to look a little bit closer at. But what's your typical split with someone that's reselling? Do you have a preset resale arrangement or what?
No, that really, really depends on the agreement. For instance, some of our people are saying things like, we're going to do all of the support because we're a consultant, and that's what we do. We're going to not only get your software in there, but we're going to show them how to use it. When they have problems, they're going to contact us first. And obviously, if there's a problem we can't resolve, then we're going to come to you. That would be tier 1 support that they're handling. They get a bigger piece of the pie. If we're doing all of the support and all they're doing is making the sale, then they get a smaller piece of the pie. Now, again, if HT was like, you know what, we're a fairly decent-sized company, and we've got an opportunity here because it is broadband to small business, and this is going to be a sticky software, and we could sell this to 500 or 1,000 or 1,500 customers statewide. That is going to dramatically change the way we look at it compared to a distributor that sells a dozen a year. And so, you know, whether it's 50-50 or whether it's 60-40 your way or our way or 70-30 your way or our way, all of that can be determined based on if we say, you know what, we feel it's worth experimenting with. So then what we would want to do is maybe just choose 5 local businesses that are HT customers, maybe just 5. Get the software in them, get their data in, train them, have them start using it, and see what the experience is like. And then you guys might say, okay, this is what our effort is, and so we think this is a fair split. Again, if you think that your effort is going to result in a tremendous number of sales, then that's going to dramatically impact the split. If you say, oh, we can sell 12 of these a year, like, you know, some of our distributors, we can sell a dozen of these a year, 1 a month, and you know, and we're not doing anything but selling them, well, obviously that's also going to dramatically impact.
Sure.
But,
no, I get it. So you're somewhat flexible depending on what volume you think we can achieve.
Exactly, not just somewhat, but dramatically flexible.
Yeah. Wow. Well, this has been really interesting.
I have a PowerPoint that, if you'd like, I can email to you. That basically goes over my presentation. Okay. Let me just make sure I've got. Oh, I've sent you an email before, just for this class, in fact. Okay. I'll be sure to email you that PowerPoint today.
Now, how long do you think? Let's say we decide to do this. What kind of? How long do you think it takes us to onboard? What's your normal setup? Or you started feeling your way out, depending on how we normally do that.
Again, it really is a dramatic difference between a large customer with, let's say, 30 stylists and 10 massage therapists and 3 nail techs. That's going to be dramatically different than a location that's got 3 nail techs.
I get that. I was thinking, because you got data entry, you got all sorts of stuff to get them ready. No, I was thinking about, let's say we decided that, we want to do this. What's the normal onboarding time for, let's say, someone, to say, okay, we want to do this. I'm sure we have to go contracts and then training and stuff like that. Do you have a standard process, or is it
we've got it in your way? Yeah, we've got a template, but I don't believe that template would really apply in this, because I'll be honest with you, like I said, a consultant that has got 100 salons as its customer base, and they're all using software, and they think that they could put our software into half a dozen of them this year. That is such a different environment than what we're potentially talking about here.
That's who you've normally gone through. Got it.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
This is new to us too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is new to us too, and so we really, I would say that if we were going to go templated tomorrow, so let's not say that. I would say that if you guys said, you know what, let's move forward, let's move forward on this, then, and you'll see it in the proposal PowerPoint that I'm going to send you. Basically, it says, okay, there's going to be some timelines here that we're going to set. We're going to have another meeting like this where we're going to go over each one of those things and say, okay, how long do you think that's going to take? Well, that should take us 3 days. That should take us a week. That should take us a day. And then we're going to mark these things out so that we can then, when we're done with that conversation, say, this is what we have in mind, and this is where we're going to go from there. And so I'm going to get that to you today. Take a look at it at your convenience, and then give me a call or send me an email after you've looked it over, and then we can go from there. And I would say, because just to give you if you guys went full bore and said, okay, now we're just going to start with 5 customers, and at the end of the 5 customers, that's when we'll determine profit sharing, et cetera, et cetera. If you said that, then I would say you're probably looking at about 2 or 3 weeks between that time and the time that you are just onboarding them one after another. But again, that 2 or 3 weeks would be after those 5 have given you some feedback.
Sure.
It might even be 3 or 2. It's entirely up to you.
Now, since you have this web-based online product, have you ever considered becoming a part of a larger So you're what we would call an ISV, integrated software vendor, and you have this product. There are marketplaces. For example, we use one that's an automated marketplace for really we're aiming at our small biz customers. We put different things on there, but it gets syndicated, and then you can sell through that to a variety of carriers, customers all over the place. For example, the group that uses our marketplace are people like AT&T, Deutsche Telecom, Telstra, Comcast, various large carriers and other folks. And they have a whole program. They have a whole program where you use their APIs, and it facilitates a customer sign up. It facilitates, you've got your system, and then you have hooks into making it automated. So basically what this program does is it's flow through provisioning, flow through billing, you get your share predetermined, they take care of all that interface, and it just allows you to expand your reach. And it's particularly designed, there's two sides. There's the marketplace side where I want to have a marketplace and it does all this stuff for me. And then there's I'm the software provider and I want to extend my client base and it helps me deal with that. I'm not suggesting you'd be interested, but to me, what you have would lend itself well to something like that.
Well, then I'm interested in it. I'll be honest with you. No, I have not thought of that before. I'd love to learn more about that, and perhaps we can do that in another conversation. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd be happy to share that. But anyway, I look forward to getting your information that you're going to send me. This has been fascinating. I'm glad. It's very niche, but yes, it's very complete. Wow. I mean, you do a lot of stuff.
Well, we have been in the beauty industry since the early 90s, so you're talking about we're on our third decade now. We like to call the software client-driven, specifically because as a family-owned company, and it is a family-owned company, you'll see the name Wiggins all over the place. Matt Wiggins, Brent Wiggins, Stephen Wiggins are the three owners. Our lead counsel is Mark Wiggins. The head of our technical support department is Eric Wiggins. It really is a family affair here. You will see some names that aren't Wigginses, but there's a lot of Wigginses here. Hey, we're Irish. What are you going to do? Anyway, because of that and the client-driven nature of the software has changed throughout the years based on our customers saying, we wish it did this, we wish it had that. So those are the ways the software gets changed. And because it's a relatively small family-owned business, we've been able to make those changes quickly and get them out to our customers, which is why we can, as a small family-owned business, have really big customers, everything from major hotel to resorts to a chain of salons or spas, et cetera, and the software works effectively for them.
Wow. Yeah, so it's very, very interesting. Thanks for taking the time. I appreciate you reaching out to Amy and then spending the time with me today. I'm very interested in figuring this out.
Well, I'm going to get that PowerPoint out to you immediately. As soon as you and I get off the phone, I'm going to send that out. I'm also going to, because I have this recorded, I'm also going to convert this recording into a YouTube video, and I'm going to email that to you as well.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, thank you.
All right, Ken. My pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. And I think this went well. Tell me if you agree.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, we got to figure out now. We have a variety of stuff that we're trying to introduce, and then where this fits for me is we're trying to deal with verticals, and I consider this a vertical opportunity. And interestingly enough, this is something that could dovetail with some other initiatives that we have going on, but I won't bore you with that now. Let's continue the conversation and see how it goes forward.
You got it, Ken. Thanks so much for your time, and you can expect both of those emails from me today.
Okay, fantastic.
All right, take care.
Thank you. Bye.